Hello, and thanks for joining us on the second segment of the show, where we promised you an exclusive interview with a former footballer, former coach, who is now a program manager far away in the Republic of Ireland. A quick look at engineer Ahmed Rufai Isa. He is a former grassroots football coach and a passionate advocate for youth development through sport. Years ago, he and a close friend founded a local football club known as Boca Juniors in Mararaba, Karo local government area of Nasarawa State, aimed at nurturing the talent of teenagers and dreams of becoming professional footballers. Their mission was not only to harness their skills, but also to provide young people with a positive outlook, helping them stay engaged and stay clear of crime and gang investment. Why Ahmed has since transitioned into the tech industry as a program manager. His commitment to grassroots sport and talent development remains strong. He continues to believe in the power of sports to change lives, inspire communications and communities, and create pathways for young people to succeed both on and off the field. Before I introduce our special guest, I am a product of that foundation. Quick Expo, I am a product of the Boca Juniors Football Club. A very good morning to you, Engineer Ahmed Isa Rufai. It's a pleasure having you join us on Signature TV.
Hi, I'm excited to be here. It's good to see your face, obviously on screen, and to see you do what you do best. Thank you.
Before we get into the interview proper, Coach Rufai, what can I say? It has been donkey years having you, or rather seeing you after the last time we had that beautiful time on the field of play. It was a 2-1 defeat at, at the Mogadishu football complex where you subbed me in at the 71st minute. I won't forget that day.
Yeah, I remember that day quite well. I think this is the thing with football, right? It's exciting, and so every time you think about the past or the present is always beautiful. Win or lose, it's always really a beautiful experience.
uh, Rafai, let's get
Yeah.
into the crux of discussion. You have moved into the tech world, but first, let's start with your coaching days right here in Nigeria before you made that move to Europe. How would you look at coaching right here in Nigeria, comparing it to coaching in Europe?
I think the big difference that there is in coaching is there's a structure in place. Outside of Nigeria, there's a structure in Europe that exists for people who want to coach. There's a structure from the very grassroots level all the way up, as opposed to Nigeria, where that structure isn't really streamlined and also it's not layered. So, for example, if I want to become a coach as a young person in Nigeria, and I'd gone up maybe somewhere in Maraba, for example, as you know, there isn't really any platform available for me within that, category of life to connect to, as opposed to Europe, where even in your communities already there are established system for young people who want to coach. They can simply walk in and get a form, in fact, and show their interest and say, I want to actually become a coach. So that structure is what is lacking for us. Is even that is also present in our football. If you observe it really well, the time that we were coaching and the time we were playing, there was hardly any national or government structure that was involved, any kind of school program, any kind of local sports program.
All right, let's still dwell with coaching in Nigeria. I know it's been a long time since you left the shores of Africa, but what would you say were your biggest achievement as a coach? in Nigeria before jetting out?
Yeah, I think for me, the goal has always been to inspire people, right? Inspire young people, especially because we come from a country that is specifically hard to get opportunities, not just for young, but even for the old, for adults, it's hard. So I think my achievement would largely be that I was able to inspire a lot of young people to actually not just play football, but some of them are also coaching now. And I remember a certain incident, obviously involving you and I, that happened. At the time, I think we were still in. Actually, we went to the same secondary school at some point, and I remember we were playing a game uh, between two houses in the school, and I had come to watch you guys play, and you were standing on the sidelines while your team, it was Yellow House, I believe, was getting defeated. And I mentioned it to the person who was in charge of subbing, for your team, that they should put you on and that you guys will end up winning. And I remember you coming on and scoring on that day in commercial secondary school in Nyanya. And so for me, it's about that inspiration. And I remember still very vividly how you felt about it after going on and scoring, I think, 2 goals. I don't remember the number of goals, but you did score that day. So my achievement is being able to inspire people, a lot of young people, because you can win trophies anywhere, you can lose anywhere, but when you inspire people, I think that stays with them forever.
Indeed, memory lane right there in your days in secondary school as well as your playing days. But I remember you playing with some of the local teams in Nigeria. You had your stints with Canopilas, and of course with the Boca Seniors team, where you were the captain of the Boca Juniors senior team, as well as the secondary school you mentioned. How would you describe playing in Africa, that is the culture mentality, and of course the culture mentality of the lads over there in Europe?
So I think what if you look at the basis, right? For us, the moment you start playing football as a young kid in Nigeria or anywhere on the continent, the first thing that comes to your mind is, I want to make it big and go to Europe. And, as opposed to some of the kids that I've seen in Europe, little kids still playing grassroots football, maybe playing in their schools, in their community. At that level, for them, it's just about having fun, And we are already robbed of that on the continent, that ability to enjoy the game first. And then it gets to a time where you then begin to think, okay, I can go professional. So for us, from that moment that we start playing football, everybody is thinking about going to Europe. So because we don't really have any structures, we don't have any financing, we don't have any coaching programs, we don't have any more, motivators who come from maybe a bigger level to speak to people in communities. So it becomes really difficult. And that's why you see our people essentially getting out of the game in time. So I think that's one of the differences that we also have, um, that I see from here. But again, in terms of motivation, I think that a lot of our younger people on the continent are a little more motivated than people that you see outside when it comes to football. Because I've seen the level of football sometimes as at grass level here. In terms of talent, they don't really match us, but they have every other thing. You get what I mean? And we don't really have every other thing. And it goes back to the adage where they say those who have caps don't have head, and those who have heads don't have cap. So we have a lot of talent, but no structure and no support, no systems in place. And everything in this life, I think, before you succeed, is about having the right ecosystem, having the right setup.
I haven't played football. Why coaching?
Well, I think that if you look at it, right, some people, they they understand the game. That's just what I want to tell you. It's like a feeling, right? And there are coaches that they didn't even really have to go to any coaching program. And we can look at even currently, like the coach that just signed for Manchester United, Amorim, when he was at Lisbon, and way before then, he had issues, basically because he didn't go to any coaching school. So I'm not saying it's bad to go to coaching school, that people shouldn't go. Actually, people should go to coaching schools. But I'm just trying to answer your question. Is a feeling, right? Like I remember at that time playing, but I could see the game differently. I understood tactics, I understood, what it meant. So for me, it was always about, how can we change something to win? And I remember in Maraba, when we had Boca Juniors, there were certain times where I'll just come. I remember a day my boys were playing match and I just arrived and they were losing actually. And I just observed the structure, the way they were shaped. And I'm like, okay, we need to change this, we need to change this position. And we ended up winning that game. So the interest for me, beyond nurturing talents and giving people, young people, the inspiration to succeed in life, I think is also about, you know, affecting the game. It's about the love and the passion that we have for what coaching is like, because coaching in itself is like chess, right? What move do you make to defeat your opponent? So I think that's what excites me about it. So having played with a lot of young people also during my time, and also observing, watching a lot of clips back to back, I believe most of the time that people like me were watching football, I was watching tactics. So that's what kind of inspired me into coaching as well. Yeah.
Assuming you are in a room filled with young minds, male, female, how would you advise them to stick to their dreams in becoming a good footballer? Or, as many of them that nurture their quest to become a coach, what would your words of encouragement be to them?
I would just say embrace hard work. People look at hard work and they think, you can just succeed out of the blue, especially now in Nigeria. There's a lot of, ideological change for young people where they've been trained to believe that success is immediate. It's like something that just happens out of the blue. But this is not true. I say build the culture of hard work from the very beginning, whether it's in sports, whether it's in arts, whether it's in science, any kind of professional field that you find yourself, or even your own personal life. The first thing you should do is to embrace hard work. Then the second advice I have for young people is be consistent. you know, don't just embrace hard work, but be consistent at it in doing difficult things. You get, whether you have to jog the field for 30 times, before the training, or you have to use the gym, or you make sure that every day you show up to do that thing. You are consistent at it. Most of the people who fail to reach their peak, and most of the people who didn't succeed in achieving their talents, or getting to the peak of the level they could have gotten to, is because they didn't embrace hard work. They also didn't they were not consistent. So the third advice I would say is, whatever you do, just try to enjoy yourself. Don't obsess as a young person about the future. Don't obsess about trying to, exist in your now and enjoy the moment. Obviously, make plans, make moves, but the last thing I would say is keep good friends, because I remember, obviously in Maraba, there's a lot of, like, growing up, there's a lot of bad influence. And football was a way for me to stay away from all of that. There were children or kids who couldn't really, they didn't have the right mindset to do the right things. But because we were able to show them that, look, with hard work, with consistency, and staying out of trouble, your life can be way better than it is. You know, I am here in Ireland and I could actually be whatever I want to be. But few days ago or few years ago, I was back in Maraba just like everybody else, struggling to make my life better. And the way that I did it was that I stayed in school, I read my book, was serious with it, and now I'm here. So this is my piece of advice for young people.
Technology. Now you are a program manager. What prompted you to make that switch? Was it the Jackpot syndrome, or you felt that the grass is greener at the other side in technology?
Well, I still believe that I might still end up in football, back in football. But what influenced the change wasn't necessarily Jackpot in the sense of it, because I've been out to the country for like 5 years. While I was doing sports, while I was coaching, I was also working professionally. So I didn't abandon school, and school led me to become first a researcher, and then also uh, that professional aspect of me that I also kept nurturing led me into tech. So I got hired essentially to come work in technology. So because I didn't leave school, school led me to have a professional life outside of sports, and that also led me into technology now. So whatever you do, try as much as possible to still stay in school while you are doing your sports, because people always assume that you can abandon sports, you can abandon school because sports will pay you. But in the long run, whether you become successful or not, the sports you are going to outgrow it. Your body is gonna stop, giving you all of the juice that you need to succeed in it. Then you need school to help you. Now, I'll give a good example here. Sheyi Olofinjana, former Nigerian international, former Wolves
Absolutely.
international, everybody knows him. He has become a scout, and he just recently, I think, got hired by Chelsea to become the chief scout officer for the continent. Now, the point is, Shiyolo Finjana went as far as getting a master's degree, went as far as getting like a sports degree, I believe a sports management degree. But this is a guy who has succeeded in playing professional football. So now the football is done. His school is now, going to pay him because he kept schooling even after he, finished his career. He went back to get a master's degree in sports. So the advice is stay in school, still keep your professional life while chasing your sports dream.
Wow, such an eye-opener, I must say. I
Mm.
wish we can go on and on this interview, but our time is far gone. We will look at episode 2, where we will be merging sports and technology together, because indeed sport, not just football, has gone global, and it is a scientific sport at the moment. But Ahmed Isa, Rufai, we can't go further. Let's quickly get your pattern short. We will definitely have an episode 2 of this interview, but let's have your pattern short.
My parting shot is, look, uh, we've been dealt a card as a country because leadership has been poor, and so we've inherited systems that are not working for us. You get uh, there's poverty, there's lack of investment in sports, there's problems in our schools, there's problems in our society. But that doesn't mean that our dreams must die. We have to keep struggling to make it one way or the other. And that entails us embracing information. And the reason I say this is young people have phones in their hands every time, and they are doing social media, posting and all these things. But actually, the phones have information on any career path that you can think of. So spend more time actually on YouTube and learning different things and finding information that can help advance your career. And that is my parting shot.
Before I finally let you go, on the flip side, Rufai, are you still a Chelsea fan?
Forever a Chelsea fan. Blue is the color, football is the game, you know.
All right, and many thanks to you, Engineer Rufai Ahmed. It was a pleasure having you join us on Signature Sport.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me, and keep doing what you do. All the best.